We're all seeing it, right? This absolute explosion in AI. It feels like every single day there's a new breakthrough. But behind all that hype, the big players, the giants of the global economy, they're facing a way tougher reality. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into the real challenge of getting AI to work in these huge companies. Okay, first let's just take a second to appreciate the sheer speed we're talking about. I mean, think about this. The internet took more than 10 years to get to a billion users. Smartphones? They did it in 5. But AI got there in just 2 years. So how did it happen so fast? Well, it's pretty simple, really. AI wasn't starting from zero. It was basically riding a superhighway that the internet and smartphones had already built for it. All right, so this incredible speed creates this huge paradox. If AI is spreading like wildfire and it's so powerful, why hasn't every big company on the planet been totally transformed overnight? Why do we see this massive gap between all the hype and what's actually happening in most offices? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now. Well, the answer, when you boil it down, is simple. This time, it's just different. I mean, think back. When mobile became a thing, companies could just, build an app. It was like a new front door. When the cloud came along, they could kind of lift and shift their old stuff. But AI, it's not like that at all. You can't just slap a coat of AI paint on top of your old systems and call it a day. And hey, this isn't just my opinion. Nandan Nilekani, the chairman of Infosys, he put it perfectly. He calls it a fundamental root and branch surgery of the way business is done. A surgery. That's not a software update, folks. That's a complete operational transplant. It touches everything. The tech, the processes, the people, even the way you have to think about your business.
So what's the big deal? Well, for decades, all the software we've ever built has been what's called deterministic. You put in 2 plus 2, you always get 4. It's predictable, it's repeatable. But AI, it's non-deterministic. It thinks in probabilities. You can ask it for a recipe, and you'll get a great one. Ask it again, and you'll get another one, maybe slightly different, maybe more creative. So how in the world do you build a reliable global business on top of a system that's designed to be a little unpredictable? That's the real engineering puzzle right there.
And all of this creates what I like to call the great deployment gap. It's this massive, yawning chasm between what the AI technology can do and what big companies are actually able to do with it. There's actually a formal name for this concept, and it comes from the late, great Professor Clayton Christensen. He called it technology overshoot. It's that exact moment when a technology's power just zooms way past our ability to absorb it and use it effectively. And folks, that is exactly where we are right now. The AI models are getting stronger every day, but for big companies actually deploying them, it feels like they're stuck in first gear. So why is implementation so difficult? Well, here's the kicker. The biggest roadblocks aren't really about the AI itself. No, they're about people, they're about processes. You're talking about massive organizational change. You have to literally re-engineer your core business from the ground up. You have to retrain your entire workforce. And all of that, that's before you even get to the data, which, let's be honest, is usually a total mess. Locked away in different silos, running on ancient systems that were never, ever designed for something like AI.
And that leads us to the single biggest blocker for pretty much every large company out there. It's kind of like the ghost in the machine. It's called technical debt. And it's a massive bill that's been racking up for decades. And now it's finally come due.
So what even is technical debt? It's basically the cost of all the shortcuts companies have taken over the years. Instead of replacing an old system, they just patched it. Then they added another layer on top of that, and another. The analogy in the slide is perfect. It's like you're trying to build a brand new, high-tech smart home, but the foundation it's sitting on was poured in 1960 and is literally crumbling. Nothing you build on top of that is ever going to be truly stable or work the way it's supposed to.
And seriously, this gets to a point that's almost comical. There was this one executive who shared a story that it captures this perfectly. To keep some of their ancient computer systems running, they literally have to keep 70, 75-year-old programmers on contract. Why? Because, and this is a direct quote, nobody else knows what the hell is going on. I mean, come on. That's not the foundation you build an AI revolution on. And this tech debt, it has a huge price tag. In a lot of these big companies, a mind-blowing 70%, 70, of the entire IT budget is just spent on maintenance, just keeping the old lights on. That leaves only 30% for anything new, for any actual innovation. I mean, every company wants to flip that ratio, but they can't until they do this massive, painful cleanup.
So here's the most crucial point of all. With AI, the party's over. The time for kicking the can down the road is done. As the quote says, accumulated tech debt over decades must be paid. You no longer have the option to defer this. AI is basically forcing a day of reckoning that companies have been putting off for far too long.
Okay, so the problem is pretty clear, right? It's big, it's messy, and it is super complex. But what's the solution? How does a company actually get through this maze? Well, let's take a look at a playbook for how to do this transformation.
So a successful transformation really boils down to 6 key pillars. And the tricky part is you kind of have to tackle all of them at the same time. It all starts with a solid AI strategy and the right engineering. Then you need good, clean data for that AI to work with. You have to completely reimagine your processes. Then comes the big one, legacy modernization. You also got to think about physical AI, in factories, in devices. And holding it all together, you need AI trust and governance. If you drop the ball on any one of these, the whole thing can just fall apart.
And this is a really critical distinction to understand, the difference between two worlds of development. On one side, you have greenfield. That's when you're starting from scratch, a clean slate. It's easy to build something amazing with AI and show off incredible productivity there. But the real world, where 99% of big companies live, that's brownfield. That's where you're trying to weave this brand new technology into that messy, complicated, tech debt-filled system we were just talking about. And that is a monumentally harder job.
So ultimately, this whole conversation has to shift. The question is not, is there an opportunity in AI? I mean, of course there is. Everyone knows that. The real question, the one that actually matters, is all about execution. And just to be clear, the opportunity is absolutely staggering. We're talking about a market for AI services that could be worth $300 to $400 billion by 2030. So the potential value? Not in doubt. The money is definitely there. And that brings us to what I think is the single most important takeaway from all of this. It is not an opportunity risk. It is an execution risk. The winners and losers in this era won't be decided by who has the smartest AI model. Success is going to come down to which companies can actually execute on a really complex, really difficult, multi-year transformation plan. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought to ponder. It's easy to get mesmerized by the crazy pace of the technology itself, right? But maybe, that's not the race that really matters. In this new age of AI, is the winner going to be the company with the fastest, shiniest tech? Or is it going to be the one that builds the smartest, the most adaptable, and the most disciplined organization?